Greetings and welcome to my new calculus channel. My name is John Gabriel. So that is the topic of today's video. Is 0.333 with an ellipsis behind it equal to 1/3? And get yourself a cup of coffee and maybe a sandwich or something, settle in, because I'm going to be talking a while, going through quite a few points why this is a load of bullshit. Okay, so let's begin. Now, the chief culprit behind this, by the way, was somebody called Isaac Newton. How, you ask? Well, let me explain. He wasn't directly responsible for it, but indirectly. So, first of all, anything with infinite in it, like infinite series or infinite decimal expansion, is not a well-formed concept. Infinity has no place in mathematics. It's utter garbage. Okay, so formalism didn't officially start until the Bourbaki clowns, but it was in place already from Newton's time. So if I had submitted, I, the great John Gabriel, had submitted to the mainstream cabal of math academics, you'd have no new calculus, no closed form trigonometric formulas, and a lot more. And there's also a lot more you're never going to know. However, Euler caught these ideas of Newton and ran with them in his Elements of Algebraisch. So he says in Article 298, Daher ist uns Bruch 1 over 1 plus a gleich dieser unendliche Reiche. Therefore is our fraction 1 over 1 plus a equal this infinite series, and it gives you the infinite series. Now, you'll be able to see this if you uh, check out this article here, and inside here there should be a link to, oh, there should be a link to the other, it's called Euler's blunder anyway, so if you, I'll give you the link to it, but it is a partial sum followed by an ellipsis, okay? And let me get back to this. So the problem here is that what you're looking at is what you're looking at are two different objects. Okay, so even if you look at Rudin's formal, by the way, authoritative real analysis, you'll see that he says that this expression here, it should be clearly understood that S is the limit of a sequence of num and not obtained by simple addition. Okay, so even in their mainstream, they're not consistent. There's no consistency in their BS. They simply are like a bunch of apes just going about doing whatever pleases them. Formalism? What's that? I mean, they go on about formalism like it means more than anything. And here you see how they break that uh, principle any chance they get. So the other thing is this. This, this definition of Euler, he knew there was nothing special about it, and he knew that it was wrong. Why? Well, if you study his elements, you'll see that he had the ability to produce closed forms of 1 over 1 plus a. Okay, so 1 over 1 plus a has many closed forms. In fact, innumerably many. But none of them are equal to 1 minus a plus a, etc. Okay, that's just garbage. So um, if Aristotle's bullshit of potential or actual complete or completed infinity were even remotely true, then the concept infinity would self-destruct. So you can't have completed infinity because then it self-destructs. But what about potential? What about potential infinity? Is that straight up nonsense too? Well, no, but it's just as problematic. I mean, think about it. Potential infinity, that means there's a possibility that it can happen. So it's also nonsense, isn't it? Okay? So potential infinity and actual infinity are garbage concepts. Now, I think I've covered that. Then decree after decree by the mainstream math cabal led to the acceptance of S is equal to lim S and infinite decimal expansions. That's what they base their garbage of number on. You know, the point on the number line to the number corresponds when a point or a distance may not even have a measure. So They didn't, by the way, and still don't have a definition of number because formalism or authoritarianism is all that they care about. Understanding is completely irrelevant. You take the definition declared by the mighty Euler and simply apply it. You just simply apply a definition. That's what happens with 0.999 dot 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 equals to 1. It's an application of a definition, nothing else. It's BS because 0.999 is a partial sum with an ellipsis and it's a series. And 1 is a very well deformed number. Okay, so the 1 is a mathematical object that's well defined, and the other is a series, an infinite series, but it's not really infinite, as you can see. Okay, therefore, S is equal to lim S, henceforth, never mind that these are two different mathematical objects. So for the mainstream math cabal, pattern recognition is their most important criterion. Yes, I know, even the primates and some other mammals have such equal abilities. You're recognized as genius in their cabal if you discover that the sequence of prime numbers contains arbitrarily long arithmetic progressions. That, by the way, is known as the Tau-Green theorem. So it's a worthless and unremarkable fact. Then, despite the numerous objections and corrections to their garbage theory, the mainstream math community cranks would not bend to reason, because in their work, reason is unimportant. Surrendering to reason means admitting they are wrong, and this is a big no-no, and it completely destroys their bullshit theory of numbers. Boom, there go real numbers into the trash can. Given a choice between light and beauty and a steaming pile of crap, the cabal chooses the latter. So the question to ask is not whether 0.333 dot 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 and 1/3 are equal. They cannot be, because 1/3 has no measure in base 10. And the most important number theory, which I can also place a link to, tells you that. And it's inside this article too. And it seems unimportant to mainstream clowns that these are completely different objects. The question to ask is simple. Does it make sense to have them equal? Or is it reasonable to make such a definition? The answer, obviously not. Any theory is only as good as the foundation on which it is built. The apocalypse occurred when the Bourbaki clowns decreed modern math foundations based on set theory and ZFC, both of those non-mathematics. So what the mainstream have done is they've just gone ahead and created a mathematical institution, okay, which is exactly like a religious institution. They have, in a religion, they have a statement of doctrinal beliefs. In mathematics institution, they have axioms, okay? Garbage, because those are also beliefs. They don't prove them, they're just beliefs. And so that's pretty much it. That's all I want to discuss. If you ever waste your time watching another, this is here's the link to that article, which gives an in-depth. So if you go to this article and you copy this and you paste it in here, like that, you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay, so uh, in his elements of algebra, which I call elements of algebraish, this is what he said. He took this fraction here, which is actually the limit of this series, not its sum. No, 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 no. Remember what I told you earlier? Rudin, in his real analysis formalism, said it's not an infinite sum. Okay. Now, there's nothing infinite about this fraction, is there? Of course not. Okay, so if you read this article, and unfortunately Academia.edu removes links, they're such fucking morons, honestly. Um, but you can go to the site and search for these articles. And here it doesn't even allow you to see the link, even when you hover above it. But I'll place some interesting links in the details section. That's pretty much it. I'm John Gabriel. If you're not already a subscriber, please become a subscriber. It helps me earn a little bit more money. I am living in the poverty bracket because I've been persecuted for revealing truth, and I do not submit to the cabal of mainstream math academics. Clearly, they need to be corrected, but it's not going to happen anytime soon, and it probably won't happen in my lifetime. That's the sad part about it. because I'd really love to see them grovel in their shame. Because that's all they have, by the way. Mainstream math academia is a fraud. It's a scam. Okay. They know how to use the results of theorems, but their theory is completely flawed. Okay. For example, in calculus, they've got things like the mean value theorem and fundamental theorem. And yes, they simply apply those things. They don't really understand them or are able to prove them. Okay. But I am, and I'll tell you something. That had I not been as determined as I am, there'd be no record of this. And mainstream math academics are constantly trying to erase all my knowledge in in each and every way possible, because to them mathematics is not about reason or logic. It's about formalism. Okay, that toxic term formalism. Okay, it's actually an ideology, and it's failed. They've gone nowhere in the last 250 years. Nowhere. I'm John Gabriel. This is the New Calculus channel. Till next time, goodbye.